Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. This is part two, and actually, I think we're going to do this as the finale because uh, that big box that I just opened up really didn't have a lot, like quantity-wise, it didn't have a lot of comics, but quality-wise, oh my goodness, the books are they're just literally insane. These are some of the books that you'll never see in life. They rarely come up for auction. There's some pretty big books in here that you just don't see very often. And I'm going to show you them, and I think you'll be impressed. I really do. Last time I recommend you watch part one, even though it's like doesn't show as much. There's some pretty great stuff in there. One of the things that I showed was this photocopied Bullet Man, comic where they basically photocopied the book that they're sending. So I thought that was a nice touch that they took the time to photocopy it before they submitted it to CJC, and you get to see the interior, because once it's in a slab, you don't get to see the interior. So having this is quite nice. Now I'm going to show you what that corresponds to. So what is the book, what the slab looks like for that book. And it's a pretty great slab. It is restored. I get that, but the restoration is kind of minimal. So it is Bullet Man #2, and this is Macro Boy cover, and it's just a really great cover. I have Bullet Man #1, so now I have Bullet Man 2. I'm working on getting the complete run. I think there's only like 15 issues in the run. It's not or 15, maybe 19. I don't know, somewhere around there. So it's not a big series. So this is Bullet Man #2, Fawcett Publications, fall of 1941. The restoration includes small tear seal to cover. That's it. Small tear seal to cover. So there's a tear that has been sealed, and I'm looking for it. And I don't even see it. Maybe it's on the back. Yeah. it's probably not a big one, because it must have been really small, because I can't find it. But maybe if you look, you can maybe see it yourself. I don't know. Can you see the tear seal? I don't see it. Nope, I don't see it. But really nice presenting. And I got it for a really great deal, because I negotiated on the fact that it is restored. So typically this book would go for around $2,000 in this grade. I negotiated down to $500. So I really negotiated. He actually wanted $1,200 originally, and I kept on negotiating down to like $500. So I thought that was a great book, a great price for this book. Just a really great book. This is what can I say? It's early Bullet Man, a kind of a series that is a little bit quirky. I enjoy it, but yeah. So Bullet Man #2. And then another big Golden Age book that came, and this one actually has a great cover thing. They put a little thing inside with it. Put that over there. Is this series? There's a few that are kind of expensive, and I actually owned the expensive one before it got expensive. Is Nightmare. This is from St. John, I believe. Yeah, St. John Publications. And just a really great kind of morbid cover. Like all these, I don't know, people strung up and like, I don't know, like kind of, who knows what's going on with those people. Just some crazy stuff going on. This is a Joe Kubert cover, and it's from 1954. But I've been trying to pick up the whole series for Nightmare. I think I have pretty much all of them. Maybe I'm missing 1 or 2 issues. So this is Nightmare #12. And I just think that St. John's books in general are underrated in terms of their value. Just because they had some really great stuff. Like, I think it's number 14. That's the Matt Baker cover, or 11. One of those two. I'm totally blanking on which it is. I have that one, and it's one of the bigger books within the collection. And I actually got it before it kind of got hot. So Matt Baker has become one of these hot artists. But yeah, so recommend you check out this series. Really great covers. Nightmare, and Nightmare number 12. Now, moving to the modern age, this is a book that has recently dropped in price, and I like to buy books when they drop in price. And especially if they're books that I wanted to get when they were expensive, and now they're affordable. So this book had really gone up and gone crazy for a while. This is Static number 1. And this book actually, it was interesting. The trajectory of this book is so interesting. Like probably in like 2018, like this is from 1993. So it's not a recent book. But this book was like not a dollar bin book, but it was affordable for a long, long time. You could buy it for maybe $20 to $30. And it sort of, it got onto all the hot lists for whatever reason. I think they were going to bring it back. They brought the character in some of the cartoon series, and it became a hot book, a really hot book. Like I think it went up to like $200-300, like really crazy prices. And I think a 9/8, $400 kind of range. And then there's been this sort of price correction. It's come back down. So I picked this up for like, I think it was $60. I'm gonna guess that was around that range, $50 to $60 for a 9/4. That's I think a good price. Again, and it was one where I negotiated a bit to get the price a little bit lower. Actually, I did a previous unboxing where it was not really a unboxing. It was more of a comic haul where one of my viewers, he invited me to his house, and he was showing me all these really great comics, and he had this one and a 9/4 as well. And he wanted big money for it because he paid big money for it. I was like, I know it's kind of corrected, so I can't really pay that kind of price for it anymore. And he was like, he understood, but he's a long-term investor. He's like, he knows that it's going to come back up again because it's a character that they're using. And it's a character that has like its own following. So I think it's kind of cool to get. I always wanted to get it. Even back in the 90s, I actually wanted to get this book. But for some reason, I never did. I don't know why. It always kind of slipped off my radar. There was one time I was going to buy it, and it was like $30, and I kind of was like, oh, is that too much? I should have bought it. It was like a 9/8. But yeah, we make mistakes, right? So, but I got it in the end, so that's all that matters. So that's Static number 1. Now, this is a book that you just don't see. I think there's less than 20 on the census. It is like a really rare book. I saw it up for auction. I jumped on it because this is a book, like it was actually up for auction, and it also had best offer. So I was like, oh, maybe I can stop the auction, because I knew that if it, like, it was day one, it was like, a 6-day auction. And I knew that if a bunch of people saw this book, it was going to go through the roof. It was one of those books you just don't see often enough on the auctions. So if it got to the right people, it's one of those books that, because it is so rare, it could go crazy in terms of price. And I didn't want to pay a crazy price. So I actually got it for a really good price because I jumped on it really quickly, and I gave a best offer. The guy accepted. I was like, oh, wow, awesome. I got this really great book. So this is True Crime Comics. And it's one of the ones that's one of the rarer ones from The Seduction of the Innocent. And the reason it's in The Seduction of the Innocent is it got a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on inside. It has injury to eye. It has bondage. It is just craziness inside. So really, really great comic. So True Crime Comics. I believe this is issue number 2. I think. I keep on forgetting the issue number. Oh, that's really bad of me. But just a really great comic. Obviously, it's got a bit of a spine roll. It could probably be cleaned and pressed. And maybe even sorted out. But it looks very intact. The spine. Usually the spines get all mangled, but it's actually quite good. It might actually, it's like the guy priced it out as a good plus. But I actually think, based on what I'm seeing, I think it's a VG plus. Based on like, and I'm pretty good at guessing the grades on these books. I'd have to kind of inspect it a bit more, but just a really, really nice presenting book. And it's not cheap. Even with me saying, oh, I got a good deal on it, it was not cheap. I think I paid, I'm thinking 400 to 500. It was, so it's still expensive. The next book, and this is another one where I negotiated a pretty good deal on it. He actually has a higher price on this thing. This is Jungle Girl #1. And I mentioned in the previous video, and I showed some books from this, this is a series that there's only one issue for Jungle Girl. But then it changed its name afterwards to Nyoka. And this is Nyoka's first appearance. So this is a rare book. I didn't pay $240. I think I paid $150 or something like that, around there. Because I negotiated the price again. But it's quite nice. I might have to change out the bag. The bag looks a little old, but they put it in this little mailer, and I think the mailer is kind of cool. Yeah, it's really nice. It's a bondage cover too. Like if you look at most of the Nyoka covers, they're pretty tame. This one, being a bondage one, it's kind of cool. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, now I showed some pretty big books, but the two books that I'm about to show are insane. Really insane. Like I was shocked when I got them for the price that I did. I think I paid $300 for the two books. And this is after I had just seen one of them go up on auction on Heritage, and it went over, I think it was one to 2,000. It was like, it just went crazy. Because these are books that you just don't see. They're rare books. The first one is, and they're both in, lower grades, I have to say. But this is Terry Toons #1. Now, Terry Toons is a really great series. I think Terry Toons, you get like the first appearance of Mighty Mouse in Terry Toons. They had a whole bunch of these really crazy war covers where you'd see like Hitler and like Mussolini, like all these kind of crazy things, and like propaganda covers. I really like those kind of propaganda covers, especially when when they're targeted towards children, because I think that's kind of interesting that they would do that kind of thing, that they would bring all this politics into children's books. And you see them like fighting Hitler and stuff. It's kind of cool. I think it's really, really great. I'm not a big Hitler fan, so I totally agree with them doing it. So so this is Terry Toons #1. It's just a really great book. And I think it has the first appearance of several of the characters from Terry Toons. Just a really kind of a cool cover too. Now, the book that I was actually saying was on a Heritage that went crazy was this one. And this is just another really rare comic. And it's the first appearance of Pogo. This is Animal Comics #1. And it's just this is really rare. You just don't see it that often. And it's a really great comic. I forgot who the artist is. It's like at the tip of my brain, but I just don't remember the name of the artist right offhand. But very famous artist. I just can't remember it right now. But this is Animal Comics #1, and it's in I would say it's like a 1/8 based on what I'm seeing here. So yeah, it's not like a high grade or anything like that. But it is definitely a great book to have. So that is the first part. How are we doing for time? Okay. I said I would do this in 2 parts. I'm going to try to hammer through these last few books, and there's a lot. Should I do it as 2 parts? Is this really the finale, or is it just a continuation? Well, you're going to have to wait, because I'm going to do it as a 3-parter. Sorry, I realize there's just too many books in here, and I actually want to get into the books a bit deeper. So sorry for that. I apologize. Please forgive me. So this is part 2 of 3. There'll be a 3rd part where I'll show a whole bunch of more slabs. Hopefully some pretty big slabs. And stay tuned for that. Watch part 3. This was actually, the stuff in here pretty big books. I was super excited for some of these. So yeah, so again, thanks for watching. Please check out my Instagram, check out, subscribe to the channel, check out my other videos, do all that wonderful stuff. Like, subscribe, comment, I don't know, send me money. I don't know, just joking. Whatever you like, just do it. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.